Hello and welcome to Wake Up and Live with the Arts. I'm Sue Johnson, your co-host, along with Gary Webster, co-host, and we're going to be sharing our time today here at Rainey, our host and sponsor for this show. We're going to be spending our time talking to Lee Lazar, the executive director, and a fabulous violinist, Anele, and he will pronounce his last name. He's from South Africa, and we are honored and delighted that he's going to play some of his special music, which is why he qualified to come over here and have an artist in residency with Rainey. So without further ado, let's talk to Gary and Lee and Anele. Welcome not only to the show, but to America. And we will be quizzing you on what it's like to be here in this crazy country. Okay, Lee, tell us, how did you find Anele, like your other artists in residence, through the Gunn Foundation program?
It's actually the Cleveland
Foundation. I knew that sounded wrong.
So several years ago, the Cleveland Foundation started a wonderful program called Creative Fusion, in which international artists come to Cleveland and do a 3-month residency with a specific nonprofit arts organization in Cleveland. And while the international artist is here, the artist spends approximately 25% of his time with the host organization.
Okay.
About 25% of his or her time with other organizations in our community. And 50% of the artist's time is their own time to develop their own special music or artistic talent. So we were very excited that Anele has come to us from Cape Town, South Africa. He arrived here on Labor Day, and he'll be here through Thanksgiving. And Anele has really connected to our El Sistema at Rainey Orchestra music program.
Okay, good.
So he's been teaching our young musicians about South Africa, Cape Town, South Africa, the continent of Africa, and the fact that music is an integral part of every country all around the world.
Not only that, music transcends all the ugly in the world. It's something like you say, all humans resonate to music, whether it has words or not. For the moment, we are all one. We are all the human race. Yeah, so how are things in Cape Town these days?
Cape Town is fantastic. I mean, it is the heart of culture in South Africa. Cultural city, it's known as the mother city, where it's known for the orchestra, the Cape Town Philharmonic Orchestra, which I work for back home. There is the Cape Town City Ballet, the Jazz Art, the Music College, and about an hour from it there's the Stellenbosch Conservatory. So the art in Cape Town, I always say when playing in Cape Town, it's a phenomenal experience. And being an artist in Cape Town itself, it's different being an artist in other cities compared to the rest of society of South Africa. Reason being is the beauty of the nature, the scenery, the setup of Cape Town. And you feel that waking up every morning, going to work or going into meetings or teaching or rehearsals, it feels like a great adventure every day. You don't know what you have until you leave the city. And for young musicians, it is highly competitive, because you need to keep in shape all the time with the practicing. You need to be at the top of your game, especially if you're in your early 20s. One needs to be so focused on the craft, because the 10-year span between your early 20s and your 30s, that is what's going to determine for the rest of your career in music. So, but I mean, it is phenomenal. I've been lucky to work with a lot of really great musicians in Cape Town. But at the moment, I could say there's nothing but great theater, great ballet, great orchestral music, chamber music, solo recitals. Yeah.
What is your typical genre, or do you cross genres with your music?
We have the African music known as Kwela music. I'll play you a little bit, which is famously recorded by the Soweto String Quartet.
Yes, I know that name.
Yes, that genre of music. And but I'm predominantly I'm classically trained.
Okay.
But that structure enables me to maneuver around to other genres and figure out what I can do.
Sure.
Well, you talked about the competition among artists in Cape Town. How did you come to perform with the Cape Town Philharmonic? And was that something that you had to compete in order to achieve?
Yeah, I mean, when I did my debut with the Cape Town Philharmonic Orchestra, it was my final year of high school. And at that time, I'd only been playing violin for 6 years.
Wow.
And I've just been accepted by a very top violin pedagogue in South Africa, Professor Jack Davet. And at the moment, you're not aware of what's happening, pretty much, because you are just a kid, you're young, you're working really hard, you're practicing like mad. And the opportunity, only when you're out of the stage, or when the people that accompanied you when you were young become your colleagues.
Oh,
And
wow.
when
yeah.
they become your colleagues, so you played with them as a youngster, as a soloist, and then they become your colleagues, your friends, your acquaintances. It's very difficult. First of all, they have the festival is called the Artscape Concerto Festival, which is held at the Artscape building. They have auditions for musicians around South Africa. So we're 50 million population, and you're probably competing over 100 to 300 musicians that are applying to audition. So you rock up at the building, and there are great music experts, the panel. So you present your concerto, and you play with the pianist, and then they listen to you, and then they make the decision.
The judgments.
So they make the judgment if you qualify to do your debut. Because it is very important, I actually think, for young musicians to take that try. Because once you have established yourself, you've done your debut with an orchestra, it opens other barriers in music. But to be selected, it was a humbling experience.
Of those, you said it was 1 to 300
Yeah, I mean,
approximately?
it's cross. There are opera singers, there are other violinists, there are cellist, pianist, and the competition is very high, because I was young. I was still in high school, and there were
You're
people.
still young now, I think. Are you scraping 22 or 23
Yes,
yet?
I just turned 22 this year.
And look at what you've accomplished. Some things that folks don't accomplish in their entire lifetime.
Thank you very much.
And your resume reads like a who's who in music already. Yeah.
Thank you. And I think, I mean, the great difficulty is that when I was 18 years old, in my last year of high school, when you're auditioning to present a movement from a concerto with the Cape Town Philharmonic, there are people at the conservatory, at the renowned Stellenbosch Music Conservatory and the UCT Music College. So you're competing against people who are already doing their master's program, who are doing their honors, and some of them have just graduated, and they think this is an opportunity to get out there so that my career can open path.
Oh, okay. Now, how did you find Lee and the Rainey Institute?
I mean, day one I arrived here on Labour's Day with a very serious jet lag after taking 3 flights to get to Cleveland.
Oh, good.
Could I
heavens.
ask where you had to connect through in order to get here?
I flew from Cape Town. I arrived I landed in London about 12 hours late, straight from Cape Town to London.
Okay.
And then I had breakfast in London, and then I got another 8-hour flight to Chicago. And then when I arrived in Chicago, it was about 4 in the afternoon. So when then I get to the airport, I ask, may I please get the menu? And then they give me a breakfast menu. And I'm like, sorry, but I've already had breakfast in London because of the time shift.
Yes.
And then from Chicago, I took a plane to Cleveland.
Yes, okay.
And arriving at Rainey, I mean, the positive energy that you receive from the children. So you walk into the building in the morning, you do, the normal routine of emails, getting into the day, practicing, preparing for the program in the afternoon. The children, they inspire me most. They inspire me most because they want to be here.
Oh yeah, that's one thing about Rainey. Yes.
Yeah, the positivity of the kids. They want to be here, and some offer to play for you. I mean, to have the great confidence to say, "May I play you something?" And
yes.
There's a sense of when I walk out in this building in the afternoon, that this sense of inner peace. You've given something to these kids, and some of them will relate, where they come from and how I grew up, and for them it is inspiring, because the great inspiration, I think, with kids that are at Rainey is to see a reflection of themselves.
Yes.
They must be able to reflect and to relate to somebody. And when I was young, I was lucky to get master classes from really world-class musicians. But I was like, how can I be so good as them? Because, I mean, they're not African, they're European. And I think that is the positive side of these kids. They sing somebody just like them who comes from the same background, same path. So there is nothing stopping them to being successful. And the only thing that can stop them is the grade, But otherwise, the path is there for them.
Well, no, these children at Rainey are very special children. I've seen them in action. Quite frankly, they're unbelievable with their talent, their skills, their abilities, techniques when it comes to all of the genres: violin, dance, performance, dramatic performance and stuff. But let me ask you, do you have family back in Cape Town?
Yes, I do have family. I have
Parents and siblings,
yes,
or
yes,
yeah.
I've got siblings. I have 4 brothers and 1 sister.
You had to think about that for a minute.
Yeah.
Are they as musically inclined as you?
No. I'm the musician, and
Okay.
my other brother was a cellist, but he's passed away now. So,
Oh dear. Okay.
He was a cellist, but I have siblings. I try when I'm at home, which hardly ever happens, to spend as much time with them and visit them often.
Yes, because you're a world traveler now with your music. Is that's correct, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean it is demanding. It is demanding. When I'm back home, sometimes I'm traveling within South Africa doing chamber music recitals. I'm at the Philharmonic, and when I'm at home, I'm at my apartment, and then I try and enjoy a little bit of my comfort zone.
Sounds good. Have you been to our Severance Hall to hear our Cleveland Orchestra, or have you performed with them yet?
No, I have not performed with the Cleveland Orchestra. I have not visited. I've went past the Severance Hall, and I'm looking forward to be playing for some members. One of the faculty members at Cleveland State University is the Associate Concertmaster
Oh my.
of Cleveland Orchestra, whom I'm later looking forward to be playing for.
And speaking of playing, how about we put you to your lovely art and task of us enjoying a selection or two of your music. And while you do that, would you say your whole name for our audience?
My full name is anele.mhlahlo.
Yeah, see what he said? Okay, how about, you can stand up right there if you like, and what are you going to tell our audience? Don't tell me, go
I
ahead.
will be playing a Exec from Vivaldi's Violin Sonata in an A major, which is normally played with the harpsichord, but I'll do it as solo violin.
Okay, sounds good.
Thank you.
Okay. Are you going to do 1 or 2 selections?
I'll do 2.
Okay, and when you finish that one, tell us the title of the second one. Okay, and then just keep going.
Okay.
But leave some space so we can put him in a couple of sections of his segment.
Can I start again?
Yes.
Okay.
Brava.
The next piece I'll be playing for you is a tango al choclo.
Oh, I know that Lovely. Approximately, about how long does it take you to master a particular piece? Is there kind of a general thing, or sometimes it takes you 6 months, 6 weeks, 6 days to master a piece?
It depends. It depends what you're studying at the moment, the kind of repertoire that you're working with. Sonatas, they're very different, like Beethoven sonatas, Brahms sonatas. They're different works because they're more of chamber music between the piano and the violin. And maybe some virtuoso solo violin pieces, they can be challenging. But concertos, violin concertos are really difficult, you know. They take hours and hours of training. It's like running a 100-meter dash, you know, like an athlete. You have to work really hard because there's so many things that are here technically challenging, and then when you finally get the notes, you have to think about the interpretation, the architecture of the piece, and then you get into the music. So concertos, it depends. Also, I think if you have studied the concerto before and you've played it a lot of times, and every time you approach it differently. But for the fact that it's already under your fingers, that's a great advantage.
Okay.
But that's something that struck me about those pieces that you just played, was that you did it without music. So obviously you have memorized these pieces.
Yeah, I've memorized them. I've played them many times before, and the great danger actually of
Repetition?
of pieces that you played many times is that one has to approach them as if you've never played them before every time you touch them, because it's very easy to make mistakes. It's very easy because you go with the attitude of that you know it.
Well, you heard something on your first piece there, and you said, can you do it again? So I didn't hear whatever it was that you asked, could you start over?
Yeah, I mean, that is the thing, because I know it, and then you played it before, and you think you will make a mistake here and there, because you've played it so many times. And it's easy to make a mistake of something that you've played many times.
And as a maestro yourself almost, who do you admire in terms of violins or musicians in general, do you have favorite role models or inspirations or folks you say, one day I'm going to be like him or her?
Look, I mean, there are a lot of violinists that I look up to, you know, as craftsmen, as human beings, as individuals, as people, you know, because we have to admit there is life outside of music, and then there is life within music.
Of course.
And I mean, like Bernstein.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, he's one of the great inspirations. At one point, he felt like if you came to him and said, Mr. Bernstein, may I please play with your orchestra? And then he'll be like, but I'm not a conductor. I'm a composer.
Yeah.
And then at some point you would go to him and ask him, would you please compose me something? And he will say, but I'm a conductor. And then you would get to him and say, would you please conduct something while I'm playing? And he'll say, but I'm a pianist. You know, at different eras of his life he felt something, and that is the importance of music.